My name is Peter Underwood and this is the midsummer edition of News from the Water. So, in aid of the sunshine, this week we're going to try to emphasise the positive, despite the continuing flow of tales of breakdown, neglect, cheating and failure. With that in mind, we've largely turned to Canal and River Trust's public relations team, who are specialists in creating positive news. Canal and River Trust gets into retail. If you want to buy a small cuddly toy made from recycled plastic for a £5, or a drinking cup from the same material for another £5, or perhaps a £1.50 plastic keyring, I know where you can get these treasures. Canal and River Trust has started its first store and you can buy them online, although it will cost you another £3.45 for the postage. No doubt these little delights will also turn up in CRT offices and welcome stations, perhaps even canal-side stalls, as they are in essence designed to promote the well-being concept in which the Trust has invested so much faith. Clearly a marketing idea, the Welby range seems to be aimed at families, with a toy for the kiddies and a drinking cup for the adults as they stroll the towpaths feeling weller. It's to be hoped they're a great success and become a must-have accessory, raising lots of cash for the Trust and saving hard-pressed boaters from future rises in licence fees. At the very least, we're sure they'll be giving work to a British manufacturer and keeping people in jobs. Blue Flag Award for Liverpool docks. Canal and River Trust marinas in Liverpool's Royal Albert and Salthouse docks have received a Blue Flag Award that recognises high standards of environmental information, management, safety and boating services. The Trust describes the award as England's first ever International Blue Flag Award for marinas. That's technically correct, but fails to acknowledge the 3 earlier ones in South Wales and many more in Northern Ireland. The water quality within the docks makes it home to lots of wildlife, including thousands of blue mussels and hundreds of 2-metre long European conger eels, nicknamed by the locals Dock Ness monsters. And then of course there are the squadrons of gulls eating those mussels and thousands of moon jellyfish floating in the water every summer. Daniel Greenhouse, CRT's regional director, said,
"Liverpool is one of our key strategic priority areas, and we have lots of exciting plans coming up over the next few years."
The Albert Dock and Salthouse Dock moorings are part of a UNESCO World Heritage waterfront site in the heart of Liverpool City, a status currently under great threat because of continuing high-rise developments in the area. In normal times, Royal Albert Dock attracts millions of tourists every year. The docks often host a number of world-class events like round-the-world yacht races. Both marinas offer electricity and water supply and can accommodate up to 60 vessels of various sizes in the Albert Dock and 46 canal boat moorings and 20 long-term moorings in Salthouse Dock. Access from the canal system is severely limited in winter months. CRT says it's undertaking a review of its waterscape strategy and will also be hosting a number of events over the summer, including, inevitably, a waterfront well-being weekend in August. Eco-moorings in Islington. Where else? The London Borough of Islington and the Canal and River Trust used Clean Air Day to launch what they claim are the first eco-visitor moorings in the country. CRT has flagged up that it expects financial backing from local and national government in future, And the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs and Islington Council helped fund these electric charging points to provide boaters with an alternative to running their boat engines or generators when moored. The three bodies are also offering a programme of energy advice and support for boaters. CRT claims that once fully completed, it will result in the Regent's Canal in Islington being an electric eco-mooring offering low carbon energy. And the Trust says the area is leading a new green industrial revolution as it works with councils on carbon-friendly projects, sustainable urban drainage, support for biodiversity and the development of traffic-free transport routes, or bike routes as we like to call them. There will be electrical power supply points at Colebrook Row, Caledonian Road and York Way, using green tariff electricity from the mains. The Trust accepts the argument that boat engines can affect both waterside residents and towpath users as well as boaters themselves. It says the eco-visitor moorings will enable boaters to reduce their reliance on using their engines or generators. London boaters should be prepared. It seems stakeholder engagement is an important element of the project, and the delivery team will engage with the boating community and others to raise awareness of air pollution health impacts and the climate emergency globally. And it's for their own good, according to CRT, who say,
although the overall air pollution impact of canal boats is relatively localised and minor compared with road traffic emissions, research from the Canal and River Trust has shown that the people with the highest exposure and health risks are boaters themselves.
And there may be more to come. Councillor Rowena Champion, Islington Council's Executive Member for Environment and Transport, said,
"We look forward to continuing to work collaboratively with the Canal and River Trust on future schemes, and to highlight the benefits of using cleaner, greener fuel."
Footbridge back in place after a year-long restoration. The Grade 2 listed Big Lock Footbridge in Middlewich across the Trent and Mersey Canal is back in place after a year-long restoration. Engineers craned the bridge back into position after a £330,000 restoration job by specialist contractors. The original footbridge had to be closed nearly 2 years ago with a temporary pedestrian crossing installed alongside it. Finally, in June last year, CRT created a special cradle to lift the old bridge safely onto a low loader and transport it to a specialist firm for grip blasting, followed by a detailed restoration of the Victorian structure. Tanya Snellgrove, the Trust project manager, said,
"The old bridge was badly corroded, and our engineers rose to the challenge of providing a sympathetic restoration which could carry modern loadings. The original steel structure has largely been retained, so the weathering is clearly visible, and unique historical features, which were too badly rusted, have been replicated. The structural elements are all painted black, as in the original color scheme, including the new U-frames which strengthen the bridge. The new mesh on the parapets is the same woven mesh used at the Eden project, and is so light that it appears to vanish when viewed from a distance, allowing the structure to appear very much as it did over 100 years ago."
Can you help? Well, that's the good news. I hope you all experienced an uplift. In the meantime, News from the Water is working on a number of stories, and you may be able to help us. Firstly, disabled boaters. CRT is trying to improve the way it deals with the needs of disabled boaters, following a recommendation from its ombudsman. But we have had detailed complaints from individual boaters about the Trust's failure to provide basic infrastructure adjustments like disabled moorings, or to make realistic adjustments for disabled boaters in their cruising patterns. What's been your experience? please contact us by email at peterunderwood2@gmail.com or message the Peter Underwood page on Facebook. Now, there are currently more than a dozen closures and many more restrictions, some of them long term and some on key routes like the Grand Union Canal. Boaters are trapped in their marinas and others are finding it impossible to plan longer journeys as repair promises are broken. Have these breakdowns of the system affected you and your boating plans? Let us know. Please contact us by email at, once again, peterunderwood2@gmail.com or message the Peter Underwood page. That's it for this week. Enjoy the sunshine.
We need video and photos of all aspects of the waterway. Email to peterunderwood2@gmail.com with your name and a brief description of it and where and when it was shot.